Well, hello there, good morning to you all. So, this now will be my review for Bleach chapter 552 called Fundamental Virulence from the scanlation that I read. This is a interesting chapter. Um because it picks with Kangdu Basby talking to each other, and eventually we learn that the meaning of the letter of Kangdu, that is I, the iron, and apparently Kangdu was also the one that kind of cut down Matsumoto, and eventually he brings her to, or put her or throw her uh, near Itsugaya, and she apparently has a severe wound around the area of the neck or the base of the neck or something like that. And basically, Kangdu reinforces the idea that he already presented in the last chapter, that the order to finish off the captains that have their Bankai stolen by the stern reader that stole them was come directly from Jua himself. So Basby, even if he is not very pleased about the situation, he kind of backs down, and Kangdu um, takes command in a way, and eventually he goes in presenting himself, giving the meaning of his letter, and basically saying that he will kill Itsugaya and Matsumoto because he strongly believes that the people that live together should die together, something along those lines. And he also enters in Bankai Daiguren Yorimaru, and basically he, using the Bankai, is preparing to finish off Itsugaya and Matsumoto. Then we cut to the 12th division, where the talk between Urahara and Mayuri continues, and eventually Urahara goes explaining uh, that the situation about the Bankai, that he found a weakness, and that when the Quincy's use the Bankai, in that moment they can retrieve the Bankais back. It does not develop, then Mayuri kinda wants to cut the communication, and it kinda detaches the communication device, but eventually Urahara appears, and he eventually reveals that he was already in the Dengai Precipice world, traveling to Soul Society. And then he continues the explanation that during this stay in Lebomundo, basically, in theory, the Quincy's, if they have the ability to stall a Bankai, they should also have the ability to stall a Resurrection from an Arankar, but they do not do it. So eventually, Mayuri comes to the realization also through the conversation that basically, even if the princes have the ability also to stall resurrections, they do not do it because they see it unclean, and the merit for them. So they do not want Arankar's resurrections, but apparently they could also take Arankar's resurrections. So, and then Urahara also goes explaining that he created something, a pill, a bag, something, and basically the situation is all the captains that did not lose the Bankai, or all the ones that are able to possess a Bankai, need to touch this, because that kind of prevent the stealing of the Bankai, because Urahara come to the conclusion that the Quincy's basically destroy Olos, because they do not have the ability in their bodies to survive a direct contact with a hollow, like a virus. So, if a Bankai, even if from a moment, touches the principle of holification, the Quincy dies. Because apparently the Arancars are like poison to the Quincy's, and if the Holo Reiatsu kinda enters into a Quincy or wounds the Quincy apparently he will die by poisoning in a way. I think that's the mechanic behind all the stuff. So eventually they link the connections and such. I think that they are using the special room that Mayuri created to protect himself, and they enter in contact with all the captains and vice captains in Soul Society, in and outside, and spread the information, and the bugs appear at the locations. And then we have a situation that I think it's Toshiro that touches one of the devices, and he kind of have I think some rayas or something like that around his fingers. And then in the last page we see that something attacks Kengdu and destroy the ice wings. So is that Toshiro? I don't think so. I'm honestly thinking that the one that came to the rescue of them is Ishin. Simply because of this fact, Urahara came to Soul Society using his own Senkaimon, and if you remember correctly, during the Fullbringer arc, it was stated that Urahara was no longer banned from Soul Society, and we did see that Urahara was the one that did go speaking with Captain Commander Yamamoto to convince him to make that Reishi sword that eventually returned Ishigo's powers. So Urahara at this point he can go to Soul Society if he wants, uh, because he is no longer banned. So if Urahara using his own Senkaimon enters in Soul Society, do you think honestly that he will came out to Soul Society alone? He is powerful, indeed he is, but I don't believe that he will come out alone. So I think either it will be probably it will be the group of eventually the Arancars from Wikomundo and Chad and Orihime, and most likely he also go first to the human world and did pick up Yoruichi and Ishin. So I'm kinda speculating that probably the explosion that destroyed the ice wings of Kangdu, it was Ishin. That's my betting. I could be wrong, but I will be betting on that. So and Rugly, that's the chapter. Like I did say, it was a very interesting chapter. A lot more informative, and we kinda through the explanation of Mayuri and Urahara, we kinda understand more about how probably the Quincy medallion works. Uh, Eventually, the meaning or the true meaning behind the hatred between Olos and Quincy's, eventually, and also that to recover stolen Bankai, basically you need to, if a Quincy has stolen your Bankai, from what I understand, you need to attack him with some kind of Oloreiatsu in his Bankai form, and kinda try to attach that Olo Reiatsu to the Bankai Reiatsu, and that eventually, from what I understand, will destroy the Quincy and will make the Bankai returning to the owner. This is strange, but I could be wrong, and this is only my interpretation. So that's it. This is my review for Bleach 552. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Stay well. Peace. See you soon.